We're delighted to have Grant Leboff here with us today, CEO of Sticky Marketing Club. And Grant works with leading businesses, including some of which are FTSE 100 businesses, to work on leading successful strategies for their sales and marketing. So marketing in a changing world is what we are here to learn about, and Grant has some top tips for us to learn about what marketing means for us today. You talk about marketing in a changing world. We're constantly changing. Everything's changing all the time. So what does it mean to market in a changing world? What is working at the moment?
It's a good question. So I think the big thing about the changing world is that the customers changed. So years ago, customers didn't have a lot of access to information, so they were less knowledgeable about most marketplaces, and they couldn't access a lot of choice. Both in terms of information, where did they get it, libraries or magazines, or it was quite difficult. And also they were quite limited often geographically as where they could go for a supplier. It wasn't easy to go and use a supplier in Scotland if you're based in England or something like that necessarily. So I think what's changed today is you're dealing with a customer who has a lot more choice than they ever had. For many products and services we use, we can go to different countries, different places to go and source those if we think it's the appropriate solution for us. And we've also got loads and loads of information now, almost bombarded with it. There's so much. So actually the biggest problem today is sort of sorting out the wheat from the chaff rather than trying to find information per se. So you're dealing with a much more educated customer, and therefore everything's customer driven. They go online, start to look for things or whatever else, rather than it used to be company driven. I'd mail you out and you'd react. So I think that's the biggest change that we've seen. It's about the customers changing, and then of course companies have to react to that change.
So why have the customers changed? What do you think's happened to change the behaviours of our consumers?
Well, I think that it's a combination of the web and the accessibility of the web. So once you've got a web, you've got customers who can access information, access choice 24/7, because actually they've got it on smartphones, they're carrying it around with them. So customers have become much more proactive. They used to be very passive. If you're making a buying decision, for example, talk about going on holiday, you might go to a travel agent and pick up a brochure, and actually your decisions were probably made in a large extent, unless you were looking for something very specialist, in what was in the brochure. So that kind of the companies defined what you would choose, they would almost set the agenda, and in many ways you were quite reactive. Today customers can go out there, they can be much more proactive, they can search for things that suit them and go much more niche because they can dive into that detail, and companies can deliver niche because there's scalability with the web. So you might have a very niche product that if you were had to deliver it just in one geographical area, it wouldn't be sustainable. But if you can deliver that across the UK, for example, then there are enough customers. So I think customers have demand more personalisation. They are much more proactive. There's a lot of evidence to say the purchase journey has got longer, because even though we can find our solutions quicker, there are so much more of them, and we can make them more personalised, that we actually spend a little bit more time investigating often what's available before we make a decision.
Yes, yeah, people are looking at lots of different sources of advice.
Yeah.
And we were talking about recommendation and how powerful that was. What can companies do to really, understanding the change in customers, what can companies do now to appeal to that change of mindset?
Yeah, so there's lots of things. So many things companies to do, but some of the big things is they have to think about their sales messaging. So in a world where customers were reactive, they got a direct mail or they received a phone call or they saw an advert, customers themselves would react to that messaging. So the messaging was very much about me as the company. Yes, I'd give you the benefits of using my service, but it was much more about me. Today, the messaging has to be very, very customer focused, because they're going online, they're clicking, they're doing, and they're searching very much on what their perceived agenda is. So a company can still educate a customer, but the starting point is very much the customer's mindset. So one of the things that companies have to do is be much more focused on the customer's mindset when they do that initial sales messaging. And it's something that in my experience, companies sort of don't do. They miss that. And then that means that their websites, their social media presence, even the content they produce isn't good enough to really resonate with that customer, because they haven't really got inside the customer's mindset.
So if you had to summarise the most important thing for a business to look at today in terms of their marketing, what would that be?
So I would say that in the old days, the emphasis on marketing was creating great promotional material about you to sell yourself to the customer. That's how old marketing worked in principle. Today, new marketing works by creating great value for the customer so they want to come and speak to you. So that's the difference. In the old days, you might put a great leaflet telling all the benefits about using you and chuck that out to the customers via the post. Today you would be creating really valuable videos or articles or whatever about the marketplace in general that customers really value and therefore say, oh, I should be talking to these people, that's interesting for me. So I think it's value-led marketing from the customer's point of view rather than promotional marketing from the company's point of view. That's probably a fundamental difference between the two.
And getting that right, I guess, enhances their authority in that area of expertise as well.
Yeah, enhances authority, credibility and reputation, exactly right. And makes it more likely as well that other people will share and talk about you. So then you start to get some referrals and recommendations on the back of demonstrating this credibility and value.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Grant.
Thanks.